butt dialing, fumble dialing, whatever you want to call it. That's the subject of today's Idea of the Day. It seems to me that at least a few times a week, I get a couple of calls from one or two people. One of them is my cousin. And 9 times out of 10, I'll pull out my phone when it's starting to ring, and I see his name there, and I'll answer it, and I'll put the phone to my ear or whatever it is, or it's on my Bluetooth in my truck. I'll listen in, and all I'll hear is him talking to somebody in a store, or him just shooting the breeze, or just simply the sounds of air, nothing else. You know, at first you say, whatever, made a mistake. But there's some people who do it all the time. And I do mean all the time. I mean several times a week. This happens to me. And it's usually from the same people. This got me thinking that there needs to be a solution. Now, in the past, they used to call it butt dialing. I don't know if you remember that. Back in the old days when phones actually had buttons on them, you would in fact put the phone into your pocket. You'd reach down, you'd put it in your pocket, and your butt would just accidentally, if you forgot to lock it, your butt would actually dial by pushing the actual send button again. It would dial the last person you dialed. And it's even possible that if you wiggle around during the day, your butt would not only hit the send button, but it might hit the up and down through the contacts a few times and dial somebody you haven't even talked to lately. And of course, that made for a great excuse if you accidentally wanted to call somebody that you haven't talked to in a couple of years. You say, "Oh, I accidentally butt dialed you." Well, as long as I have you on the phone, will you marry me? So the point is, the butt dialing was and is a stupid thing. Now, because they're now touchscreen, it's not butt dialing per se anymore. It's something similar. What happens is you take out your phone and it's still on the phone part, and then as you're putting it away, you don't lock it, you put your finger on it as you're moving it down. It's not your butt dialing now, it's your finger accidentally hitting the send button before you stick it in your pocket or whatever it is. So the concept is there should be, at least for those who are clumsy with their phones, an option. I'm not making it mandatory, but there should be an option. Let's see in the iPhone. You go into settings and it would have dial. And then one of the options in dial would simply be confirmation. Turn on a confirmation option. So every time you hit dial without actually scrolling, or even if you did, maybe you have butterfingers, you scroll up, you're trying to find your friend, and then as you're scrolling, you tap, instead of tap to scroll like that, you tap, and you accidentally dialed them. That's why the confirmation option. So for people who have butterfingers, and butter butts, if you want to call it that, or people putting their phone away and accidentally dialing, it would be great, at least as an option, for you to have a confirmation, so that every time you do that, it then comes up and says, "Are you sure you want to dial, so-and-so?" And then you say yes, and it dials, and you say no, and it just goes into lock because it assumes you just did it by mistake. And that's today's Idea of the Day. All right, there it is. That's today's Idea of the Day. Some of them are pretty good, right? And some of them suck, I admit. First to admit, some of my ideas suck. But if you visit Idea of the Day every day and you subscribe to my channel by looking at the subscribe link in the corner, you'll see a brand new idea every single day. And I promise you, some of them don't suck.